Hello everyone, welcome back to the cottage. I'm Cheyenne with the Rosevine Cottage Girls, and today we are going to be making lots and lots of tomato sauce. So we're going to show you how we make it from start to finish. Let's get started. So this fun attachment is the fruit and vegetable strainer KitchenAid attachment. It's attached to our regular KitchenAid mixer, and we're just going to turn it on. And then, depending on the size of the tomatoes you're preparing to sauce, cut them so that they'll fit down in here. And just gently use the plunger to push them down. Don't push too hard, you don't want to break anything. And it will begin, feeding through this piece. You'll see the juice and the meat of the fruit come here, while the skins and the seeds end up over here. And this is super easy and a huge time saver when it comes to processing our tomatoes. Some people recommend only using like a paste tomato for making sauce, but I use whatever we have growing in our garden, and it just gives the sauce so much flavor. You don't have to remove the skin or core them, you just chop them up so that they'll fit through, and the machine does the rest. filled our containers with tomato. We're going to go ahead and transfer this over to our big pan on the stove. And we're just going to keep going until we run out of tomatoes. Alright, so you can also run the skin and seeds back through just to make sure it's gotten all of the little bits of tomato out of it, and it will come out much drier like this. You can see the difference. So this is filled up and ready to start heating. We're going to turn our stove on to like a medium high heat and get it to a simmering so that it can start cooking down. It will start losing the liquid and become much thicker. Now how long this process takes depends on how thick you like your sauce. But we usually will put this on in the morning and simmer it until late afternoon. Cool it off, put it in the fridge, and then can it the next day. And by then it will have reduced to about half, just so it's a nice thick sauce. Now is the perfect time to start seasoning your sauce. We like to use a pink Himalayan salt and some pepper, but from there you can totally customize this however you want. Oregano, basil, if you want to season it for the type of recipe you're going to make, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to leave this sauce a very plain, simple salt and pepper. That way we can customize it when we're making whatever we're going to make. But you can use this on anything you'd use store-bought tomato sauce for. It's all ready to go. You just season it how you need it. Tomato sauce has been simmering for over 8 hours. We started it yesterday morning. It is 2 o'clock the next day and we're ready to start canning it now that it's gotten nice and thick. So you want to keep it hot. You're going to want to fill your steam canner up to the bottom of the inserted tray with water. Get that warm so you're not exposing hot sauce in hot jars to your cold metal. You're going to want sterilized, clean canning jars, a funnel, and a ladle, and we're just going to start carefully ladling our precious tomato sauce into jars. You're going to want to leave like a ½ inch headspace. Make sure you leave about a ½ inch of headspace. Wipe the rim of your jar. Place the lid on it. And then you're going to screw the ring down and just finger tighten it. There you go. And on to the next jar. You can use reusable canning jar lids if you want to. There's a couple companies now that make them. Tatler is one, and I cannot remember the name of the other one right this second. I think it's Just for Jars or something like that. But we will link them down in the description below. You can check out the blog for everything you need for canning. ended up just flavoring this sauce with salt. That's all it needed, but totally up to you how you want to season your sauce and customize it to your own taste. The beauty of making it from scratch is you can do it how you like it, not necessarily how everyone else likes it. Same process. And you can use wide mouth, you can use narrow mouth, you can use pints if you are a smaller family and need less at a time. We like our tomato sauce and we like it in spades, so we always can ours in quarts. By the way, this is delicious on a piece of bread with a little bit of fresh cheese. Or, you know, just straight over pasta. That's always delicious. So this canner will fit about 7 quarts. Depending on if you're using narrow mouth or wide mouth. You can use vinegar to wipe down the rims. I'm not going to bother with this round. The funnel has done a good job keeping the rims pretty clean, so I don't think it's necessary, but a good rule of thumb is to always check the top of your jars for cracks or chips before you start filling them. That way, if there is a chip, you don't have a completely full jar that you now have to dump into another jar, which is always really frustrating. You can also, instead of canning this, freeze dry it or freeze it. Either one will work, but we like to have ours shelf stable so we're not trying to figure out where to put it in the freezer. And if you try freeze drying it, let us know what you think of it. You can also continue letting it simmer down to get thicker for a tomato paste. Or just a thicker sauce in general. Keep boiling it down until it reaches the consistency that you're looking for. And you can always, if you don't feel like canning it or you're doing this in a smaller batch, just go ahead and make stuff like that. This is good on meatloaf. It's good in chili. Anything that you would use your store-bought sauce for, you can go ahead and just use it straight like this. There we go. That's our last jar. Gotta get a ring for this other one. We are going to place our lid on top of our canner. There we go. Make sure it goes all the way down. Just swirl it so I can see this gauge properly. There we go. And we're going to turn our eye up to high. And we're going to let it sit until the gauge comes around the lever on the gauge that is, comes around to the green zone for our area, and then we are ready to start processing. Our gauge has reached the green zone for our elevation. We're going to turn our canner down to low. And for our elevation, it's 40 minutes. You need to check the amount of time that you need to process your jars for where you live. You can also boiling water can these. You would just fill your canner with water, bring it to a boil, insert your hot jars. You also want to make sure your sauce is hot. Everything needs to be hot or your jars will break. And then process it for the same amount of time as you would with the steam canner. You can also pressure can it. Some people recommend doing that now. I believe the time for that is 20 to 25 minutes depending on your elevation. We'll do a whole other video on pressure canning, but really straightforward process. You just fill your jars, put them in, and we're going to wait for our timer to go off. Now is a great time to get your towel prepared so you can pull these out of your canner and have them ready to go. Timer has gone off. We're going to turn that off and set a new timer for 5 minutes and just turn the heat off. If you have room, pull it off the eye. Just let it sit for those 5 minutes, and then we are ready to remove the lid very, very carefully. Don't touch it. It's really hot. 5 minutes is up. We're going to carefully open this away from us so the steam goes up and away and not directly into our face. Put that to the side, and we're going to just gently remove these to our waiting towels. You can use a jar grabber. I like to use a hot pan holder for these ones. Just find it easier with the steam canner. With a pressure canner or boiling water canner, you're definitely going to want to use the jar grabber. And we're just going to let these cool on our towel for about 24 hours. We're not going to poke at them or check the lids or anything else. We're just going to let them cool completely. And if you happen to notice once they're cooled off that one of these has not sealed, you can stick that one in the fridge, use it really quickly. But other than that, they're ready. And there you have it. Your tomato sauce is canned. You can remove the rings like we have and put it in your pantry. Make sure you label it so you know what it is. Put the year on it so you can work through your pantry from oldest to newest. And storing in a cool, dark environment is a great way to keep this nice and fresh. Check out the description down below for all of the links that you might need for making this. We'll put our recipe also so you have step-by-step instructions, not just through the video. And if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe so you can see more content like this, and we'll see you next time at the cottage.